Hey up me duck, it's Links Live's Natters time, where your stories come alive, from the fens to the coast. So grab a cuppa and relax with your go-to podcast for unique Lincolnshire stories.
Hey there, and welcome back to the Links Lives podcast, the podcast that brings you real stories from people across Lincolnshire. I'm your host, Shelley, and today I'm nattering with the lovely Amy Jones, someone who's combined her love for animals, the outdoors, and education in a truly unique way. I'm joined by Amy, co-founder of the Farm School, an incredible initiative that's all about enriching learning through nature. From her roots in Grimsby in early days riding on the Brocklesby estate to long-standing teaching career in animal management and equine studies, Amy's journey is one of passion, purpose and a whole lot of muddy booze. Hello Amy, and welcome to the Links Life Natters podcast.
Hi Shelley, thank you for having me.
Oh, that's it. I'm ever so excited about this. It's something I'm really, really passionate about. So tell us something about yourself, Amy.
Okay, so I was born and raised in Grimsby, very much a town kid, and out of nowhere at 6 years old I decided I wanted to learn to ride horses. So very fortunately my family were able to send me for riding lessons, and so I spent a lot of time in my early days
lovely,
being thoroughly filthy and probably cold and wet through, but just loving spending time with horses. As I got a little bit older, and I kind of went through school and I did okay, but I realised I wasn't particularly that academic, and so university wasn't for me, and I found myself riding out in the beautiful Brocklesby Estate.
I'm not jealous, Amy.
Though I had a fabulous time riding hunt horses for the Earl of Yarborough, all through his private estate land, and spending time in his amazing stables, which at the time were rivaled to be some of the best in the country. And just thinking to myself that this is something I absolutely could do in life, just live and work on a country estate and have the most wonderful life doing it.
Oh, sounds amazing, that you've had that opportunity to do that, really. You spent 17 years teaching animal management and equine studies. That's a big chunk of your life. What kept you passionate for so long?
Yeah, absolutely. So I took an opportunity to start teaching horse care and equine studies when I was in the equine industry. And I just loved it from the start. I think every day is different. The variety is huge when you teach any kind of subjects like that. And it was just something that kept me interested because it was ever changing, ever growing. And the ability to be able to develop yourself throughout those years is huge. As a teacher, you need to stay ahead of the game. You need to understand how the industry works. And so getting back into industry on a regular basis and learning from others was really important as well.
Yeah, because you've worked on a sort of a national level too, with city and guilds and helping shape T levels. How do you think that's influenced Lincolnshire? What are you doing? What were they doing locally, sort of in Lincolnshire? And can you explain what a T level is for the people that don't know what a T level is?
Yeah, so T levels are a relatively new qualification. They're basically equivalent to A levels, but from a vocational standpoint. So the more practical subjects such as construction.
And so that's what?
And yes, so that's where the T level comes from. In terms of animal management, it's quite new. So there's been waves of this qualification starting up over the last few years, and we were in kind of the final wave of that. So they've only started from last year. And working with City and Guilds is a huge privilege because I've delivered their qualifications across those 17 years, right from the days of NVQs, which we all know about.
Yes, we all know NVQs were the thing, weren't they?
Yes.
Everybody's like, oh, have you got an NVQ in this? Have you got an NVQ in that? It was coming up
Absolutely.
on CVs all the time, wasn't it? And employers were asking, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, very vocational, very hands-on qualifications. So in the land-based subjects, those were the types of qualifications that we needed.
I think it's brilliant, speaking off the cuff and stuff, that we can do this now, for people that struggle, that they can do these qualifications, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you do find that the type of learner that we get through the land-based subjects often are maybe more introverted, a little bit less confident. They're generally more practical people. And so there needs to be subjects available for them. But actually seeing the growth in those people from day one, when they don't have the confidence and they'd rather work with animals than people, the qualifications grow them in such a way that they have that confidence later on to be able to deal with the people as well, because animals generally don't come without people.
Hence, that's why you set up the farm school. What sparked the farm school? I think I know.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously I've got a huge passion for education at all levels, in all aspects. So when you look at formal education as it stands, mainstream education, it can be quite restrictive. Obviously, teachers are expected to be able to deliver the qualification or the national curriculum, depending on what it is they're working on, and they get very bound to those particular outcomes. And I'm sure we all know a child or a young person that maybe doesn't thrive in that situation. And it's very hard for those teachers to actually meet their needs often. So after kind of working all those years in education and seeing how land-based subjects work for those types of young people, it was clear to me that I needed to make use of my skills and knowledge maybe in a different way and be able to bring that to some of those learners whose needs we couldn't meet necessarily within that formal setting. And so the farm school kind of came from
a real deep passion, I'm hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am in a partnership with an old colleague, Lauren, who equally feels as passionate about this. We work very well together. We've delivered qualifications from ages 14 up to 19. And we both saw the same thing. We actually arranged a trip for a group of, I think they were kind of 15, 16-year-olds, year 11, young people to go and visit a farm school out near Boston. So this one is Lincolnshire Farm Schools. It is based at Langrick and it's run by St George's Preparatory School and very much attached to them. But Annalise Bourne, who runs this farm school, was so inspirational in what she was achieving with these young people that it really made us think that this is something we need more of. And there isn't really anything else like us in Lincolnshire. There are lots of care farms, so there's lots of
I was going to say there's lots of care farms,
therapy and well-being type environments, which are really they are needed. Absolutely, they are needed. But from what we can see, there's not a lot of educators who are providing this kind of learning environment in the way that we're going to do it. So it's really exciting to think that we can... It is exciting
and stuff, especially when I first contacted you and you contacted me back to say what you're doing and stuff. And because I come from a farming background, so I was actually quite excited when, you said you'd come on and stuff like that, because my family owned a farm in Yorkshire. My family owned a farm in Yorkshire and my dad was in agriculture as well. So I've grown up with it. I had the privilege of growing up in that background. So I'm very, very passionate about it. And when I hear about children saying to their parents in the supermarket, where does the carrot come from? Oh, Tesco's. There are other supermarkets available. But it's sad, isn't it?
Very sad.
You know, that they think carrots come from Tesco's. Absolutely. They don't realise they grow in the ground and things, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a huge need for people to be connected with where their food comes from, and not just children and young people, people in general, to see that and actually they can grow their own food at home, and they can be more mindful about where their food is coming from. So that is a huge part of our ethos. Is that
because we inherited a greenhouse when we moved just recently, and now because we've got the greenhouse, we've got tomatoes in there, we've got chilies in there, we've got sunflowers, and we've just got the bug now that we're growing things. It's only little ones, but we're growing them, Amy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a tangible thing, isn't it? For a child or a young person to actually grow something and see the end result and be able to eat the end result is huge.
Exactly.
So powerful.
You mentioned the people you're going to work with, and is there a specific age group? Do you have do you want anybody to come or?
So primarily we'll be servicing kind of school-age children, but right up until further education as well. So we'd be looking at 18, 19 years old. That's not to say that we wouldn't also be able to have groups of adults, because I think adults will
People who want to volunteer for the day,
yeah,
possibly.
Absolutely. They will equally benefit from coming and learning in nature. And for us, education is not necessarily about learning to feed the animals, for example. It's actually what you learn from being outside, and an adult just as much can learn that being outside impacts their well-being in a positive way as a child can learn from maybe using their math skills to calculate some feed for the animals.
Yeah, because that fits in nicely what I was going to ask you about outdoor learning. You know, what are the benefits? But I think you've summed it up.
Yeah, there's a huge amount of benefits to outdoor learning. Obviously, lots of well-being and therapeutic type benefits as well. But essentially for us, it's about contextualising learning. So ideally, children will have learnt something elsewhere, but it might not have landed. Therefore, coming and doing it at the farm school and outside means that they're putting it into practice. And so it's able to stick a little bit easier in their brains.
I think I want to sign up myself, let alone the children. I think I want to sign up myself, Amy.
At the Thrive Tribe, we believe everyone deserves the chance to soar. Whether you're an individual seeking self-improvement or a business aiming for success, we've got you covered. Personalised coaching. Unlock your potential with our expert coaches. One-on-one guidance tailored to your unique goals. Learn flexibly online. Boost your skills from Microsoft Office mastery to work-based expertise. Lifelong learning? We've got the keys. So whether you're an aspiring professional, a business leader, or simply hungry for growth, join the Thrive Tribe today. Visit thethrivetribe.com and let's ignite your journey. Remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving. The Thrive Tribe, where potential meets possibility.
Hey there, Lincolnshire business owners. Struggling to be found online? Still buried on page 3 of Google? Wondering if anyone's even looking? Well, stop stressing and join the Lincolnshire Business Directory. It's completely free to join, and you'll finally start getting noticed. Think of it like shouting from the hilltops, but digitally. Want to really make a splash? For just £99, you can upgrade to a premium listing and get in front of more eyes. You'll be the talk of the town. It's super easy. Pick a plan, create your listing, and boom, you're live. Customers will be finding you faster than you can say SEO. Head to www.lincolnshirebusinessdirectory.co.uk. Don't miss out. Your customers are waiting.
What's a typical day like at the farm school?
So a typical day might not actually exist because there's going to be a huge amount of variety. But in terms of routine, the animals will always need to be fed and watered and all of those husbandry activities. So it might be, for example, starting by checking and caring for the animals, preparing food, watering them, grooming and all the usual husbandry tasks. It might also include things such as wildlife surveying. So we're based at the South Ormsby Estate, which has an abundance of wildlife.
I can imagine.
And some really exciting things to discover there. So we're in the best spot to be able to use nature.
And things to walk through.
Yeah, absolutely. Woodlands, parklands.
Amy, I'm so
rolling
jealous.
walls. We've also got the estate is home to a herd of Lincoln Red cattle.
Oh, lovely.
So that's one of our heritage breeds. And we've just taken custody of their flock of Lincolnshire Buff chickens.
Wow.
So the heritage involved in those breeds is really important for educational purposes as well.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And also things such as sustainable and green skills, sustainability. So collecting rainwater and using that to water the animals. There's a huge variety of things that we can do at the farm school.
Sounds so exciting, and it's sort of like, I keep saying, I want to come too, I'm signing up and stuff. Some of your learners struggle with attendance or confidence. How does the farm school help, them re-engage? Well, I'll rephrase that. How would you like them to re-engage?
So, I mean, absolutely, that's one of our core aims, and that's why we very much want to work to support education and not alternatively to what education can provide. Obviously, we will probably have a lot of young people that come to us that maybe can't access education as it is. And so the hope would be that maybe being able to develop their confidence and skills with us might allow for them to start to re-engage and access school in a more formal setting.
Because you see children sort of today, and they just sort of go towards animals more than they do people, don't they? They engage with animals more.
Absolutely. I think animals don't ask any questions of them. They don't put any demands
They just want
on
love.
them. They just want love.
And food.
It's proven that kind of just sitting with a pet on your knee and stroking it actually helps to make you feel happier.
Depends what pet sat on your knee, trust me.
Yeah, absolutely. But, and I think it gives children that sense of responsibility that actually they do matter in the world. They have got things that the animals need them for. And so they can't ignore that, really. They need to help feed and water them. They need to look after them because the animals can't do it themselves. So that's also a really important aspect to having animals on site as well.
Yeah. Our local schools and families how are they going to get involved? How would you like them to get involved?
Yeah, so we understand that not every school will be able to access us very easily. We'd like to try and offer as many different ways to access the farm school as possible. So we're starting to talk to schools at the moment. We're looking to offer some free taster sessions where we can go into the schools and we can show them a little bit about what they can do at the farm school. We will absolutely offer annual visits. So if it's just one trip a year, that's fine. They can come and we'll make sure that their learning outcomes are addressed and they have a great day at the same time. Some schools might be able to engage in a 6-week programme. So some individuals might benefit more from coming on a repeat visit. And so those programmes will be developed with the teachers and the schools to make sure that we're meeting any curriculum aims or any personal aims as well.
Yeah, saying that, we're talking about families and schools and different things and stuff. What kind of support would help the farm school? If you're allowed to, ask, and I'm giving you a platform to ask, what would you like, Amy?
What would I like?
Well, we'd all say money.
Yeah, well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we've got to make this business sustainable so that we can offer more to more people. Yeah. That's the key, really, and animals don't generally come cheap. So we do need the visits coming in.
It's quite surprising because obviously I'm going to throw one in here you don't know about. We've all seen the farm shows on the TV. I mean, the rise of Clarkson's Farm, the Fletchers. And it's not until you watch that you realise the price of cows, you realise the price of sheep. We're talking 4 figures for some of these animals, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They're not cheap at all. And so, the animals have to earn their keep a bit as well. And so some animals for us will be resources to help us with teaching the children, and some will be part of the food chain because we are teaching farm to fork at the same time, and that's just as important. If children are going to come to a farm, they need to understand how farms feed us, and whether that's carrots out the ground or eggs from the chickens. It's all part of the bigger story, so that's really important for us.
Yeah,
I think partnerships are key. So we'd love to kind of be able to work with the farming community and be able to showcase our local farmers. So any kind of partnerships where we can feature them in our
because I think you were going somewhere to Open Farm when I spoke to you before.
Open Farm Sunday, it's a fabulous initiative run by Leaf Education. And it's about getting people out to local farms. It happens all over the countryside. And we had a great day. We saw lots and lots of families there.
Oh, amazing.
It was really well supported.
So the dream, what would be your dream for the farm school? If money was no object, you had everything, what would your dream be?
So the dream would be that we would become synonymous with supporting education and enriching education. And being able to provide that alternative that does support formal rather than just stands alone. Yeah. We also want to help others set up similar projects around the country. There are other projects around the country, but there's not a lot in Lincolnshire. So if we can roll this out,
you think there would be more because we are an agricultural county, aren't we?
Absolutely.
With all the vegetables that people grow, and because it's synonymous when you talk to people and you say you're from Lincolnshire, and they sort of say, "Oh, vegetables, carrots, everything." You don't don't they? They just think
absolutely.
We just all grow vegetables.
Yeah, and everybody knows about it, but actually there's a lot of children
that
from other areas that don't. You know, the coastal areas maybe, the more town areas. So it is quite important that we also support others to roll this out. So we do work quite closely with Lincolnshire Farm Schools, and we'd hope that there might be more of this in the future. We very much know the barriers. It's taken us 18 months at least to get to this point. And we understand that you need to have a good background in land-based or agriculture, but also from the education sector as well. And that's where we are managing to get this project off the ground, where others might not if they don't have both elements of that. But we really want to also help to inspire teachers to use more outdoor learning as well. So if we can get into schools, if we can help to inspire and empower those teachers that are a bit stuck in classrooms and don't necessarily feel that they can take their lessons outside, we want them to know that they absolutely can, even with a small amount of outdoor space. That's a really big, important message. Yeah. You can go outside of your classroom. Absolutely. And it might just meet those needs a little bit easier and also perk the teacher up, because, being in one place all day is not fun. Because classroom sizes these days are quite big, aren't they? They can be, yeah, absolutely. And I think as years have gone by, the teachers have been asked to do more and more. They wear so many hats. That's exactly. And for this, it might feel like, it's just another thing they want us to do, but we're not sure if we can. What you don't want them to think, isn't it? Absolutely. It should be easy. You've got habitats to teach this week in science. You go outside and you look around your playground and you find what habitats you can find. Exactly. Things are there. Things in nature are free. Absolutely. And they are there, Amy. Yeah, absolutely. They are there. So if you could go back and give yourself a bit of advice from when you were younger, what would you give yourself? I think I would say just don't be afraid to think outside the box. It's very easy to kind of get between those train tracks and just go down the same route that everybody else is doing. But actually, you can do things a little bit differently if you want to. Amazing. Hence why the farm school is happening and stuff. Is there anything else you wanted to add to it? Any more points you want to put in? So just that we are incredibly grateful to be based at the South Ormsby Estate. We're already building relationships with the estate, and they've given us a really great opportunity to get this project off the ground. So I just want to make sure that kind of comes across and that we're very grateful for that. But not only that, we're in one of the most beautiful settings in this natural landscape of the Lincolnshire Wolds, that we want to really celebrate that as well. So if people want to contact, where can they find you? Yep, so we have got a website. We're www.thefarmschool.co.uk. They can contact us directly through there. We've got an inquiries form also that can be filled out for anyone that's interested in any of our services coming up. So things like holiday clubs, any educational visits and such like. And we've also got a Facebook group, which we only launched about a week ago. Yeah, we had a conversation when you were doing this, didn't we? And I'm just doing this and doing this. So I know this lady's been incredibly busy. But it's all ready for... It's all coming to a head now. I say this has been 18 months in the making. Lots of business development, lots of personal development. We've spoken to thousands of people about this concept, and 999 of them have been really, really positive about what we can achieve. So it's been a great time, and now we've got our base and we're starting to get that developed. We're ready to go. So the Facebook group is just the Farm School. Yeah, exciting times, Amy. Hopefully we'll have you back on the podcast when things are up and running, and we just might invite ourselves, Amy, when everything's up and running, so we can show people the benefits of what being outside can do, and animal husbandry. I can't say that. Absolutely. It'd be amazing. And finally, if someone's listening and wants to get involved personally, like a company, do they still contact you the same way? Yes, yeah, absolutely. Amy@thefarmschool.co.uk. Yeah, and I'd love to speak to any businesses that might feel that we can work in partnership or support each other. So if like a company wanted to come on a volunteer day and stuff like that, you'd support that? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Amy, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I know she's so excited to get this venture, moving more and get the children and the sort of the adults involved and stuff.
stuff. So massive thanks to Amy for joining me today and for sharing such an inspirational project. If you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to like, share and follow Links Lives Natters for more conversations just like this. Until next time, thanks for listening. I've been Shelley.